Welcome to the Backyard Professor Live Show, Sunday night in late July 2025, and we're thinking something big's going to happen. I'm here with my good friend Nate. We have been talking on the phone. I've had him on the show before. He's a good friend of the show. This man is a wealth of knowledge, and he called me several hours ago, called me this morning. Or yesterday? Was it yesterday? Or
yesterday?
It was yesterday, yeah. This morning I did the research. He called me and he said, dude, you've got to look at Pavel Psychoactivo. And he has an interview with Craig Oliver. And they really had a bombshell of an interview. Pavel had him come on just at the last minute because there are two papers written by Chris, I want to say Ward. I don't think that's his name. I'm getting bad with names, man.
There's so many names out there.
I know, thousands of them. There's two papers that do discuss the idea that Donald Trump has been read into a secret UFO abduction program. And I don't know how valid that is, but the White House itself has been investing lots of time with secret UFO programs. And it's real interesting, the analysis, because the analysis was that Trump appears to be backing off of the full disclosure. Marco Rubio, who is very actively engaged in very positive on this, hasn't said boo. Trump is embroiled in yet more controversy as always, and he hasn't brought forward the UAP disclosure like so many people. He won't even mention it hardly. So the impression we're getting at this point, and I agree, it's only July, it's not a crisis, but he just is not that willing, is how I'm going to put it, to give us disclosure on the UAP issue just yet. We don't know. In so many respects, Trump can be a wild card. This isn't going to be about Trump. The thing that impressed us about this particular interview is the incredible connections of all of the stories that we're hearing about right now going on with the UFO community. For instance,
I'll just say some of it is actually stuff that earlier on in my investigations.
I forgot to turn off the air conditioner, dude.
It's all right.
No, we want to hear it. You talk. I'm going to go turn off the air conditioner. I'll be right back.
Good. So what I wanted to say was these are connections that we had previously thought, well, they weren't really connections. A lot of it was marked out as the woo. And we were saying, just check mark that off because it's just way too out there. And then you have a guy like this who comes on and says, well, all this seems to be connected. An interesting part of this. And you have the Epstein thing is connected. And so when you're hearing people say, well, after he does Epstein, he's going to do this. Well, and I somewhat agree with that now, given the fact that we have other connections. Whereas the Ghislaine lady involved in this, she had connections to the Israeli nuclear program, which is interesting. And the fact that they decided to say that Trump came on early in his presidency this time and said, yeah, I know about the Israeli Space Force. And then he goes and creates his own. So now we're talking about a lot of connections that are just starting to come to light that before we had put off as woo. And now we're saying, wait a minute, this is all connected, because this is stuff that during their investigations that they had, found the subtleties of, and they put it together. And I'm usually the subtlety guy. I can usually put it together, but whoever's doing this, Craig Oliver, my hat's off to you on those connections, because now you're starting to bring in a lot of this stuff that we were like, hey, we should probably consider this a little bit out there. But now it's like, wait a minute, we're starting to get these connections. And as those connections continued, as he talked, he was making sure that he hit the plethora of the things. So we decided that we're going to bring in some more of the woo, because if you think about it, if even 5% of the woo is true, you might as well say, hey, there's probably more of it that's true. So let's bring it all together. Let's start pushing a little bit of that in there that was there from before that we considered the woo, and let's bring it to the forefront again, and let's talk about it, because there are so many different sides of this that will say, I've debunked this. And then there's a side that says it's not fully debunkable. And then you've got Ross Coldhart saying this is this technology. And you got Bryce Zabel saying this is this technology. And so you have so many people on both sides of the coin, and they're pushing it left and right. And you have to admit, it all seems to be coming true. And so we might want to take a second look, because everything that I've heard where people are like, well, he doesn't have the credentials. Well, wait a minute. His credentials have been erased just like everybody else's. You got people from Area 51 right now that are in our Senate, in the doors, trying to say, hey, we got irradiated when we were working out at Area 51. We want our due pardon, and we want our credentials to be known, and we want to get our health care taken care of and stuff like that.
Did you tell them about Burleson?
And then
just now, you just told me.
No, I didn't talk about Burleson.
Oh, sorry, here I am interrupting you.
No, it's all right.
I should just let you roll out.
It's all right.
Burleson has now come out just today in a video where he says that he is now fully aware of a crash retrieval program after all. And he's really interested because he wants to know, what are they doing with that stuff? Now, this is Burleson.
Yeah.
So
he's usually very reticent.
The theme of it's just so radical. That's not even science, you know.
Right.
And these guys, Pavel and Craig, they talked about this idea of consciousness. They talked about the idea of, I don't know if they brought up remote viewing, did they? But they were bringing in so many different ideas, and they were tying it all together with the Majestic 12 of all things.
Right.
Now that, I was just doing research utilizing ChatGPT the other night, and I asked it about Majestic 12.
Right.
And I think they're programming the AI with their own biases, because it said, oh, yeah, that's a legendary fiction, something to that effect. And I'm going, wait, aren't you supposed to be artificial intelligence? You're not supposed to have an attitude like that, you know. You're supposed to be objective and explore. Ryan Wood's book, and that's why I'm bringing this up. Ryan Wood's book, I met him at Contact and bought his book. He shows pretty good evidence that MJ12 is the real deal from declassified documents now. But you were telling me that they tied in JFK.
Yeah, that basically
with the M12, man.
Yeah,
MJ12.
Yeah. That basically he was actually a part of that. That he was actually a part of that council, which is an interesting fact if it's true. Now, you know, I didn't vet the thing myself, but here's the thing: if he's correct and he's bringing this into it, and we're going to connect it, then he's basically saying the reason why JFK knew so much about UFOs is because he was a big part of it. He was right in the middle of it. MJ12. I mean, if he was one of the MJ12, which sounds like it's hard to place him in there, but it makes sense that he would be there, and that he's, you know, he contacted the Russians and he said, listen, I want to be very careful about this, because if there's these UFOs flying around and they're in your airspace and they're in our airspace, we don't want to have a confrontation over UFOs. And he did do that. Now, the interesting thing is that if they're saying it and they're saying it, and they're not saying that they're each other's technology, whose technology is it? And you have to start to divide, like, hey, who knows what here, and what does JFK know, and why is it that it's not coming out? Well, this guy drew in JFK, he drew in Epstein, he drew in Ghislaine, drew her in Weinstein. Oh, Eric Weinstein.
He ties in Eric Weinstein.
Absolutely. We need to talk about Weinstein.
I mean, what is so fascinating too is with the JFK connection, one of the conspiracy theories is that JFK told Marilyn Monroe
about
the UFOs and all, and that's why they killed her.
Yeah,
which is really a wild. We're not getting into conspiracies tonight, except for the AI conspiracy.
well, we're drawing in.
We segued right into it. May as well.
Yeah. So
may as well talk about AI in our education.
My thing about AI is this: if it's okay, so we look at our educational system in America. I'm not speaking for other countries, but in America, it's a damn shame. I mean, it is. It's really bad. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of good. We're really low on the totem as far as education wise. And I think that some of that is because they don't want us to necessarily have the greatest of education, because then we start to talk like we know things. And then what, we start to get into this area where we're starting to connect these things like these guys over in Europe are doing, where the connections are real easy for them to make. But for us as uneducated, I wouldn't say completely uneducated, but at least to the point where they don't want us to be thinking outside this box,
It's almost like a conspiracy, man.
Sounds kind of like it. So, but AI, so I just want to put this in perspective. I think that humanity should have been ready a long time ago to come out of its infancy, at least in America. Like, we need to come out of a particular type of infancy where we're still stuck behind education. We're putting so much focus in on education. Now I realize the teachers out there, they're going to give me blast and all this stuff, but you have to understand, we're in an area in the world now where AI is already taken over. It already has, and you have to think about this from the university's perspectives. These kids are now using AI. They may not be plagiarizing AI, but they're definitely using it. And anybody in this chat that's going to college knows there's those robotics professors and all those kids that are underneath all those people that are using AI to finish their papers, to help them be more creative with things. So you have to look at that like, okay, now let's look at all of America. So all of America needs to understand that if we're going to just use AI to get through our tests, use AI to get through all this stuff, why are we still going to school? It's a real question. It's a real question. And the reason why, the only reason I can think to go to school now is to just have a friendship, to continue to have a relationship. But I don't know about you, but everywhere I go, they got the phone. And they're in their phone, man, and there's rarely any relationship going on. So at this point, do we really have a need for these lower schools? Do we have a need for the elementary education? I mean, sure, our kids get love from their teachers.
You're getting radical.
But it is radical. I mean, it comes to a certain scenario where humans now are no longer just human. We are neurolinked in. Whether we have a chip in our head or not, we're already linked to it. We've already built it. We're already using it. We're already in the middle of it. So we can't deny anymore that it's going to be a part of us, and it's going to be a big part of us, and it's going to continue and continue and continue. So when everybody's ready to get on that bandwagon, I hope it's sooner than later and we don't miss the train, because all these other countries, they're already using it 100% for their benefit. They're not hiding it from their people. They're saying, hey, we've come up with this, this, and this, and our new technology, and it's a lot of this has come from AI. And so we have got to not be so afraid of it. We've got to learn how to harness it and use it for the betterment of mankind. And we've also
there is an upside, there is a downside.
It's true.
And there is a fear, and that's right. That's rightly so, but not to the point of paralyzing us into inaction. Because it's all you have to do is go into Walmart, and you'll see AI taking over. They've gotten rid of their tellers, and they're trying like crazy to.
Mark, I agree with you. I think college is out of date, but I think it's all out of date. Like, I think that we're living in archaic times when it shouldn't be. We are so far in advance of normal education at this point. Like, my son, he could go on there.
Or at least the capability to get beyond.
Yeah, I mean, all he has to do, like, if a scientist came up to him and said, do you know anything about black holes? He could just type it in. Mm-hmm. Why would he need to know anything about it?
I'm using AI. I've been saying this in a couple of podcasts, but it's one of the most exciting parts of AI for me at this point. I'm using AI right now because through my education, dismal though it was, I never could grasp the different mathematical proofs and the physics formulas and the chemistry formulas and how those worked. What do the parts, you look up Euler's number, and see what is that mathematical number, that beautiful mathematical number, actually mean. What's it doing physically in the world, if anything, etc. AI will show you each and every single part of all of it, and then it'll break it apart, show you what each part of the formula is talking about. Then it'll put it back together, and then you can ask it, would you show me either a diagram or a picture representation, etc.
It does things that your professor can't.
I had it draw Trump as an alien for my thumbnail, because Trump's been read into the alien abduction program. So there is a good and the bad. I get that it's kind of a razor blade in a way, but we can use this tool to enhance our ability to understand any complex. And the other cool thing is, when I'm studying quantum physics, Nate, I can ask AI, would you tell me about this part of quantum, or this part of this part? And would you do it on a 7th grade level?
Yeah.
And give me 5 different analogies, and it'll do it.
Yeah.
And then you can say, okay, now would you retell me that on the 9th grade level?
Right.
And it will redo it.
Right.
And I will ask it, give me 5 different analogies for that. And it will. And you can take it all the way up to a PhD holding, full-fledged, tenured professor with 8 honorary doctorate degrees, and tell me in the most intellectually challenging language you can possibly imagine, and it will do that. So, you can do the step-by-step mathematics in any of the mathematics.
Right. And everybody knows this now. So it's
fabulous.
I mean, this guy takes it to the nth degree, because backyard professor, when he gets into something, he goes deep. He goes real deep.
It'll translate Greek and Hebrew for you.
It'll do everything for
I tell you.
Everything. So you don't really need to do anything, really, as far as education is concerned. The question now is how does that look? You have to see now the new picture. Let's just say, for instance, AI is your teacher. It has been since day one, and has given it to you very kindly the way that you would like it to, and our kids are being educated by it. Now, if you look at the picture of what that looks like, we are enhanced human beings at that point. We don't need a teacher. We don't need a classroom. We don't need to be shot up in these classrooms. We don't need to go and do any of that. Now, it sounds like crap because we want to have a social interaction. Human beings are a social creature, which, if you look at the aspect of AI giving you an education in social aspects, it can teach you things on social aspects too. What it can't give you, and this is the only reason I can see staying in a university setting or an educational setting, is to just learn to have a communication.
It can't allow you to tap a good friend on the shoulder and say, way to go, buddy.
Right. So that's about the only thing I can see that we need it for anymore. And if we, and I hate to say it, but if we got rid of that sector of our lives, I know that my kids' lives would be enhanced, because my son, he's completely intelligent, so smart, in fact, skipping grades, things like that. And I look at him and I go, he never got that way because of his teachers. He got that way because he's just genetically different, and he asks those hard questions and gets the answers and remembers it. So if there's kids that can't do that, the teacher's not going to be able to help them anyway. Because my daughter, she's on the other side of the spectrum. She's an artist. She's more of an artist. And she doesn't get the things that my son gets. But she can draw you a picture that was phenomenal. So there are certain things that kids are already specialized in and what they're going to do. I mean, they're either a very creative person or an intelligent person, or they got a mixture of it, or they're an athlete, whatever. But as you watch your kids grow, you know that kind of what direction they're moving in, and you can help them to guide them in that direction. Now, to me, I mean, it just doesn't get more simple than that. I mean, we've put enough time into AI already, but the point here is I see an advanced human being sitting in front of me when I think about AI.
Right now, there you are.
I'm just saying
that
there's definitely a look about a person who gets educated through AI. Like you can look at the whole picture and say, if everybody in the United States was educated by AI or had some form of it and everybody did it, we all would still come out the same. We all would still be predisposed to doing the things that we were going to do before, and we would come out with an education. It's just like myself. I never made it all the way through school. I got my GED. You go and ask your university, hey, is there something more I can do to further my education? Sure, you can go to college, or you can get your high school equivalency test, right? But the high school equivalency test, if you're not aware, is not better than your GED. Your GED is your high school equivalency. So I go all the way through school getting nothing but bad grades, and here I am, here to articulate to you guys, as intelligent as any one of you, because of the education that I've given myself by being curious and exploring and looking at physics and looking at those things that I'm interested in.
That's the word.
Exploring, absolutely.
Exploring.
And you know what? I can guarantee you, I can sit in a room with scientists and I can have real arguments with them. I can have real talk with them, real social interaction with them, because I've gone to that level myself. So people, I think, are going to specialize themselves in the future. I think they're going to not need education in the future. I think that if we got on that bandwagon quicker than now,
you're not calling for us being dumbed down, though.
I'm calling
for
for
the
us.
way you said that, we don't need education for the future.
I'm calling for us to crawl out of the soup. I mean, we are
out of the soup. Get to the stars.
Yeah, let's start.
Maybe that.
Out of the
Hey,
soup.
You think that's one of the? You think that's one of the agenda of the ETs? You think they're responsible for this AI stuff? Trying to get us to elevate
I think
ourselves?
religion led into education, and I think that was the original education. And they were giving morality to their kids,
right?
And they were saying, "Hey, these stories correlate to this moral agenda." This
that had been sucked in the Dark Ages, though. Ugh. Could you imagine living in the time of Charlemagne? Although he was kind of an upper crust type guy.
Well, you look in those times, we needed that. We needed the ability to have a family, to grow a family, to have our kids be in the field and do farming and stuff like that. Now we have machines that are so astronomically in advance of anything we had 30, 40, 50 years ago that it's all automated, man. Like, we need to get out of the infancy that we are in as a real slow step-by-step type of person, and start to just go, hey, we already have AI, we're already here, so let's just start here instead of back here. And that's just the way that I feel about the education in AI. I mean, cool. It's going to get to the point where it's attached to your head. I mean, it's a pair of glasses.
Well, I like the idea of AI being a tool to help us advance our understanding and knowledge. For whatever reason, I've always loved math, but it doesn't love me back. And I've always wanted to try to understand, what is it trying to tell me when I do an equation or whatever. But this AI stuff, this will take you step by step by step. You want proof that AI works. You remember the part of algebra that sucked was the word problems, stories. You are on a train doing 20 miles an hour going west. You leave at 5 o'clock at night. Your girlfriend gets on a train 200 miles away, coming east on a train that's doing 45 miles an hour. At what point, at what mile marker are your trains going to meet on the road? You remember those, the word studies. Those sucked. With AI, they are a piece of cake. It gives you the step-by-step. It will show you how to set up the problem. You have problems with fractions. Fractions are a piece of cake. You have problems with calculus. Calculus is a piece of cake. Geometry, whatever it is.
I think the answers that we need to start deriving from AI, and we'll leave it original. Don't start messing with its bias. So then when it comes to the novel idea,
be careful with it. Yeah.
We need to be able to get the novel idea out of AI. Like, we need to be able to say, hey, I want you to plug in these 5 things and give me a novel idea, an original idea, not something that's been touted around all over the world to everybody. It's kind of like spirit fingers. Not everybody's going to go spirit fingers with their dance, because then the way the dances are all the same. We don't want the same dance. We want a novel idea that comes out of AI. That way we learn something new. We can move on as a species.
First, I want to understand the standard idea. That's what's got me so excited about it, though, as well, to get me to where I can understand. Yeah, you can ask it about philosophical ideas. Hey, studying astronomy with AI and learning how to calculate astronomical units and light years and light minutes, that's fun.
He's fascinated by it, but I tell you, we want to kind of connect this to UFOs and what AI means.
You are. I was just talking about space.
Right.
So of course, then that's assuming that they come from there. And there's a lot of theories now. And I've admitted in the past, and I think it still is, my particular bias is I for whatever silly reason, I don't know. I like the idea of the aliens coming from distant space. I've studied all the problems that involves with that. Mm-hmm. The main thing, and I think Gary Nolan, in one of his interviews, it's been about a year ago now, I think he kind of put his finger on the issue, though, when he said, look, there's nothing says if a super advanced intelligent civilization evolved 5 billion years ago, before Earth was even formed, 5 billion years ago in the universe, and it's had 5 billion years to evolve and move. There's nothing saying they couldn't traverse our galaxy in that length of time.
Right.
Our objective existence and time in reality is not universal. We haven't been around that long. That's not to say all civilizations had to start when we did, because it wouldn't necessarily be the same generation that began the trip across space that ends up here.
Right.
And yet, on the other hand, the other cool thing is maybe it's AI that we're dealing with the ETs.
Of course.
Right? So they may not be. Yeah.
So if we're smart enough to develop it, they developed it. I mean, come on. It's kind of the same idea. It's kind of the same idea that we have with our knowledge of ourselves. If ET is studying us, it knows us. And if it knows us, it knows that we are a certain way, that we do certain things, we have certain habits, we so on and so forth. And it knows everything about us. So it knows, I don't want to be very blatant and upfront and confront these people because they're going to kill me, or they're going to try. So they want to be very subtle and very stealthy in the background, and they don't want to just come right up to you and say, hey, how's it going? Well,
I don't know. The hybrids might try.
Well, maybe.
They're starting to try to interact with us now.
Maybe. And the thing is that I get to this point in my head when I start thinking about an alien creature walking up to me. What would I do? What would you do?
I thought, what would you do?
You might actually get apprehensive and go for a weapon. I mean, you don't know.
Well, that's why they disguise themselves so that they don't. I mean, they're trying.
It's like Bigfoot. Has Bigfoot ever killed anybody? I don't think so.
Thousands. Thousands. We just haven't found the bodies.
But if he were to show up in front of you, you definitely are going to get apprehensive. But what if that's just the way one of those creatures looks? Sorry, that I look this way, but this is how I look. And there's nothing you can do about that.
We all know that Bigfoot really doesn't exist, though, don't we?
Maybe not.
Maybe
he can shapeshift. I've heard that. Maybe
the mystery
goes from a deer and turns into this ape.
Bigfoot disguises himself, kind of like the aliens. They shapeshift.
But I think there are real accounts of creatures that we run into all the time, especially out in the Amazon, where we find new creatures all the time. Sure, we might be outing creatures and they're dying in the hundreds of thousands. But we're also finding new creatures too all the time. Bottom of the ocean, Amazon, different places in the forest, things under fungus, the whole bunch of plethora of things that we continue to find.
We're not as knowledgeable about our world as we like to imagine.
Right. So where AI meets the UFO. So to me, the AI is an important part of the UFO, because when you start getting into the replication alien machine, which is my favorite, replication alien machine.
Replication alien machine. Where'd you get that?
Gordon Novell.
Gordon Novell. Ooh, Gordon Novell.
Gordon Novell. So
the man involved with Hal Puthoff.
Exactly.
Hal Puthoff.
Hal Puthoff. So
Ooh.
Supposedly they were creating a time machine together, and that Hal Puthoff was his lead scientist. Now, the interesting part about this Gordon Novell character is he says that he ended up getting a cutaway of a blueprint of how to build a UFO, flying time machine is what he called it. And there's like this whole group of people that he got together, and the group of people started talking about, well, maybe it's 0-point technology, or maybe it's by a different type of fuel source, or so on and so forth. And they had all these different ways of looking at it. And Hal Puthoff seems to be the guy that's still stuck on 0-point energy. Some of the people in Gordon's group were stuck on other things, throwing tomatoes at each other. And then he was stuck on, hey, maybe it's just time itself is the fuel of the bird. And he went on to talk about how time itself was the fuel, which is a very interesting topic. I've never heard anybody talk about how time itself is the fuel. And to me, I've related, in my own theories, I've related time to gravity. And I think they're very closely related.
Yeah, if you want to get anti-gravity, you have to control time. That's what I've heard.
So to me, if you're talking about controlling gravity, you're also talking about controlling time. And to see over the curvature of time-space, you're going to have to use time as the bird's fuel. Now, I don't know 100% where he was going with that, but I do know that he was the guy that put the countermeasures in the White House during the Watergate problem. He was an investigator of Waco when that whole thing went down with all those people that got burned up in that hotel. He was a big part of the CIA. He was in a CIA safe house that saved his life once he said he found the blueprints for the UFO, and then he put his own trademark on that information, which is interesting because now he says that he had gotten the proprietary, the intellectual property, that he was the one that was able to patent and get the property of the bird, which is interesting because now it puts him up against other people that say, well, we've got it and he's got it. So in the background, there's this fight going on between who's got what. Yeah. And so I think that's another part of this whole.
That's kind of interesting. I watched we were talking about Dan Sherman earlier today on the phone, and I watched a couple of videos about Dan Sherman, and he said that the alien that he was talking to told him that time doesn't affect them the same way as it affects us, but they don't travel through time, they travel over it.
Right.
Now that's a fascinating image because Einstein said space-time is the same, is tied together.
Right.
How do you get above or out of space-time? That was the impression that it left me when he was trying to describe the idea of, because he asked the alien, he said, well, how did you get here? How do you time travel? And the alien wouldn't answer him directly, but he called the alien Spock. May the force be with Spock.
Yeah.
But he told him that we travel over time, not through it.
Right.
You can't travel through it. So apparently there's a way to step outside of space-time. Now, is that woo or is that woo?
Well,
or yet is it science we just haven't discovered?
Elizondo says it's kind of like stepping into an outside hyperspace bubble. And you step out into this bubble and all of a sudden you're free to go wherever you want.
And whenever you want.
Whenever you want, yeah. So that's an interesting look at it. And so Gordon Novell, though, and where he fits into this whole picture, he was involved in things like the DeLorean, which is interesting how he's somehow making a time machine, and then in real life he's actually hanging out with John DeLorean, the guy that actually made the DeLorean.
And it was in Back to the Future.
Right. And these are guys with radical ideas. You have to think this guy was trying to make a stainless steel car so it was indestructible. He wanted to make an indestructible vehicle.
Sounds like what Elon Musk tried to do with his Tesla.
Absolutely, it does. And
do you see that one with Joe Rogan where he shot his car?
Yeah. I saw where he hit
Pulls
it with
a gun,
saw where he
the car.
hit it with an arrow.
Oh, maybe it was an arrow. It was a bow and arrow.
Bow and arrow, yep. Trying to hit it.
You're in that garage.
It's interesting, yeah.
Boy.
But I think that there's a group of people there. Hal Puthoff needs to be looked at closer. He's had his hands in a lot of different pots.
Yeah, but he doesn't talk a whole lot either, though.
True.
I saw that interview with he was with Gary Nolan and the other gal that does the book on UFOs and all, Kearney. Anyway, he had 4 or 5 on a panel, and the one lady asked him, she said, okay, you're getting up in age. Are you going to ever, are you secretly writing a book to where when you die posthumously, you're going to tell all of everything you've been involved and what you know and what you did and all that? And he pulled the card that said, well, I'm a patriot. I have signed NDAs and all, so I'm not going to do that, not even posthumously.
Right.
So realistically, maybe we'll get some of that information from people who
I think that they have to get that legislation to pass before Hal Puthoff can say anything.
Oh, I know.
And right? I think that's where pretty much the barrier is hitting, is that a lot of people are waiting for that to pass, that the agreements and the legislation. So then it allows them legally to subpoena people.
Right.
And it allows them
with
legally
power.
to
with power.
Yes. And it allows them legally to come out and say something and have safety. Because a lot of these people's pension and stuff is on the line. A lot of their health care, all that stuff is on the line. Yeah. So they can't just go
not to mention their lives.
Their lives, yeah. I mean, how many people don't want them to say it that are actually super involved in it and super invested in it? You have to look at those companies, and those companies are not on the up and up all the time. And they have the ability with the amount of money that they have a lot of money, and they can do a lot of things with that money. And so you have to be really careful about, that situation. But
so what's the you follow the money in these big companies, and isn't it interesting? It's the big companies that are producing all this AI without any input from any of us. We didn't give them permission or whatever, but they think they can create something that's going to completely transform the world, and even the governments of the world can't stop them now. They're using the idea that, well, if we don't develop it, China will. If China doesn't develop it, Russia's too busy destroying themselves with the Ukrainians. Well, money, or at least wiping out their armies. So
money is another part of this infancy that I'm talking about too. We're so stuck behind money too. I mean, so our education is stuck at a glass door, and it needs to just break through. And money is a glass door, and we need to break through that. We need to learn how to better humanity before we worry about tech and before we worry about other things. Yeah. I mean, money is an issue for people like myself and him. Okay, it's an issue for us, but for other guys, you got billionaires up there that are doing all these things with their money. And I keep getting this. I don't want to get political, but I keep getting this. And they got so much money that they can do this and this for all of America and whatever. And they really don't have that kind of money. That kind of money is actually not seen yet. But I can tell you right now,
I love some of those stories that say that. Elon Musk had a really bad day. He lost $26 billion today. Right. And he has like $221 billion. That'd be equivalent to me losing a dollar bill.
Yeah. So we're talking about...
We can't even comprehend the level of money they have.
Right. And we're talking about where the money has been invested and the UFO topic. So when you take all that money and you watch how so much of it has dissipated, and we don't know where it went into our black budget, and we are looking for it, can't find it, and everybody plays this "it wasn't me" game, and then the next thing you know, it just gets shoved underneath the rug, and you're going, okay, well, we know that there's got to be a back engineering scenario here with these UFOs. There's obviously money that's being put into it, then all of a sudden this money comes up missing
by the trillions,
and then it can't be disclosed because it's hidden. And then you go and look at the actual document itself, and the document itself says hidden. And there's a reason for that. It's because this stuff is going into things that are obviously, some of it's going to be for our defense. But if you look at when the time period,
defense, we're the strongest country 10 times over in the whole world.
According to the money we
One
spent.
of our aircraft carriers could wipe out all of Russia if we really needed to.
Right. I mean, we have so
I
much.
think that's a snow job.
Yeah, we have so much in defense. It's insane.
It's silly.
We are
It's
so far
stupid
above
silly.
the next people.
They're defunding NASA.
Right.
They're putting us $3.5 trillion more dollars into debt, but they're making sure they get $1 trillion for defense.
Right. I'm
Wow.
so glad that.
Do you guys like viewing the website of the James Webb Telescope and getting the updates on the science of our cosmos and astronomy? That's one of my favorite places to go. If that gets cut, I'm gonna be mad. We shouldn't let it seems like all of the stuff that benefits the total public is what's being slashed and cut out.
Right.
Let's not get political though, but anyway, I'll
Don't
tell
go
you
there.
what.
No, but
All right, so what next? You dropped a Danny Sheehan bomb.
well, we have got names that we've come up with because they've been talked about recently.
Keep talking loud
They've
so
been
they
talked
can
about
hear us.
recently in ufology, like Dan Sherman. Dan Sherman has come to the forefront in the recent days, and
Yeah, he has.
he had some interviews that have been out there for quite a long time. People can go and look at, but Dan Sherman was
He's been around for a little while.
Yep, he was.
But
involved.
he's been low key. That's why he's not as popular
Right.
as, say, Danny Sheehan or Gary
Right,
Nolan or
right.
whatever, or David Grush.
Right. And I think that he has a place in this because there are a lot of people like him too that have these interesting offshoot type of undisclosed things that they are doing for the government. And this is one of those things. He's supposedly involved in what they call Project Preserve Destiny is what they've called it.
That's what the project was that Pavel and Craig said Donald Trump has been read into.
Right.
That's the project. And Dan Sherman, what was it, 1990s?
Man.
It's been a little while. It's been a little while, but Dan Sherman was also part of that.
Right. And he was a big part of that. He
Yeah.
said that there's only maybe a handful, maybe a couple hundred people that ever had the educational background that he has from the military.
Right.
And we can go into that further. So Dan supposedly was genetically altered in the womb.
Yeah, was that a crazy story? Now here's some woo for
Here's
you.
the woo. We're gonna bring it in.
His mom was
Here
abducted.
comes the woo.
Do you remember? That's your understanding. His
Yeah.
mom was abducted.
Was abducted
while she was pregnant with him.
while she was pregnant with him. Yep.
What a story! That is crazy.
Absolutely.
And the military, was it the military that revealed that?
The military that ended up finally.
The military
telling him.
who recruited him told him that.
Yeah. So they knew that
Because the aliens told them that, apparently. That's my impression.
Exactly. And that's an important note because the aliens knew the future of the man. You have to see that.
Yeah.
Because the aliens knew that he was predisposed already, and then they genetically altered him to make him even more predisposed to being able to do this. So then when he
Yeah.
goes into the military, it doesn't take very long, and he's clicking, and he's
They gave him
and-
psychic powers and helped him develop it.
pretty much.
There you go. There's your woo. Telepathy and psychic power. In fact, the one video that I watched this afternoon, a few hours ago, really good little overview. I'll try to put a link in the description of this video to it so that you can get Dan Sherman. But he was in front of a computer screen, and it only took him just a few weeks to do this. And he was looking at sine waves.
Right.
And now he did take a pill every day. Don't know what that pill is that helped enhance his ability. His mission, his job at first was to flatten that sine wave down to a flat line with
Right.
his mind.
Right.
And he did that. That's why he was able to advance into the next phase of the programs. Was that your
Correct.
understanding?
Yep.
Yeah. And
he
then it
was
just
being
kept
tested.
getting more and more detailed.
He was being tested every day, constantly by this computer
It was his
system
whole day.
that they had developed. And
Yeah.
my understanding is that the development of those systems came from also the ET.
Yes.
That-
Yes.
That they showed them how to use that tech So then he could then become the guy that is able to talk.
The mental tech,
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Because he was actually communicating. He called the one. He called the one
Spock, and then
Spock, and
he had another.
What was the other one? He talked to a second one later on, but his first.
But these are aliens
Spock.
we're talking about. He's talking to
he
aliens.
was communicating telepathically. He never met Spock face to face.
So yeah, what would happen is
what a story.
The image would come into him, and he would write down what he was seeing, and then.
But it was numbers,
all kinds of.
It was
things.
just numbers at first.
Yeah, and then he started getting full pictures in his head. He could see what was around the ET. He could see the ET itself. He could see what it was communicating. He saw different shapes and stuff at first, but once all those defenses kicked down on him, he was able to do it constantly. There was even one time when he talked about how it happened to him while he wasn't at work, and the ET was contacted him on accident while he wasn't at work, and he said, "I'm not at work, dude." And then that's when the alien said, "Oh, shut him down."
He didn't call that alien dude.
But he shut him down. He said, we can't do this. I'm not at work, and maybe somebody's going to know and we're going to be in trouble, that type of thing. And so then they had to quit their communication. But his project, the Project Preserve Destiny, is for a future event that was supposed to be happening. I don't know what the timeline is. I don't think he knows what the timeline is.
He may not.
But I think that, so what it's about is him being able to telepathically communicate through these computer systems from one to the next because of an EMP apocalyptic event, an electromagnetic pulse event.
It was going to knock out
all of the grid worldwide, and they needed him prepared to be able to continue communicating not only with the ET, but with the military personnel who had been prepared so that they could keep in contact. Right. The rest of us are in the dark. Now, if that doesn't piss you off, I don't know what can. Well, the interesting part of that is the ET part. Why does he need to stay in communication with ET? Because they're a part of what we're in communication with now. So it's kind of like having a guy up on the space station, and now your grid's gone. How am I going to communicate with them? Well, this guy has been trained on how to do that. So now we have that system on somewhere out there.
Now, I've seen some videos that claim that actually everyone here on Earth, and I mean, they've even come out. I watched a video a couple days ago on the junk DNA in us that was put there by ET. So we're all potentially going to be able to continue communicating, but perhaps this is the importance of what the gurus are saying. Learn how to meditate, learn how to use your mind better, because what if our energy grid worldwide goes out? Seriously, just stop and think about that for a couple of minutes. That's terrifying.
I know that some of you have been at work and the internet goes down. And you know how bad that is right off the bat.
Yeah,
you can't communicate on the phone. You can't communicate.
I'm going to
internet,
immediately get on my channel here and let everyone know, hey, your power's out.
Not doing it. So
we won't even have our phones. I mean, the power grid is supposed to go out. That's what he said. So,
and he did this for weeks and weeks, and he did this at a facility that is unbeknownst to us, but he definitely had a lot of facilities that he had gone to, and there was only one in specific that I understand he did this type of training. And during his tenure doing that, he was also doing another job, which I can only imagine him working a day shift and a night shift. It was becoming pretty daunting, and was wondering when this one is going to end and when I can just continue doing what I do. So over the years, the guy just goes back to normal, and he goes back to his normal life. He gets out of the military. He's in there for 12 years, and he tells his story later on. He's 40 some odd years old. And of course it sounds woo, right? It sounds woo, but we've got to bring
totally.
If they're going to bring, if Craig Oliver's going to bring in the woo and say, hey, it's connected. Well, how much other woo is connected then? I mean, if even 5% of the woo is real, it might as well all be real then. Let's figure out what all this stuff is.
Some of the crazy woo is now part of the discourse.
It's becoming part of that.
It's becoming part of the discourse. And it's not nearly
Yeah.
Should I say it's not nearly as shocking or unbelievable? I don't know quite how to put that, but
It's just like putting off in a time
just
machine.
the changes in my attitude over the course of 9 months in reading several books, looking at hundreds and hundreds of YouTube videos,
right.
reading articles, etc., having cool people like you come into my life, talking to me about this. Even my attitude has changed a lot. And of course, you're always going to have people who always call you names. Who cares? Let them call you names. That don't mean anything. Don't worry about that.
There's a lot of people in the past too, where the woo seemed to be on the forefront of their mind, where they were talking about, and I know all you guys know this stuff because, well, at least some of you, but like the Illuminati and how they're all connected to this, and how secret societies are connected to this, and how
Masons and
there's bloodlines that are connected to this, and the presidents are connected to this. And you're talking about Masons, absolutely. When they go to the moon, they have certain rituals that they were doing on the moon that were not your average Christian type ritual.
Wait a minute. Hecklefish on the Y-Files says, nah, that moon landing is a fake. It's a fraud.
Right. There you go.
I'm going to be curious to see how my audience thinks how well I did imitating Hecklefish.
You did
I know it drives people nuts on the Y-Files, but I have grown to like him. He's funny.
And I'm not saying Masons are bad, but what I am saying is that they have a different way of doing things. And if it's not up to at the time Christian snuff, which is where everybody was in their mindset, and they're doing these different type of rituals, everybody's going, why is it that we didn't drop the flag first, or why is it that we didn't do this first, or do a sacrament first, or whatever it was? And then they're out doing these Masonic things, and why is that a big deal? And now we're talking about they're doing Rome things from ancient Rome, and using Roman sign and different things like that to do these new rituals that they do when they go to the moon. So putting this into context, though, this is about bringing woo. This is about bringing woo in, okay? Because now
14 people joined since
it is the forefront now. Woo is the forefront now. Like everything has gone from the nuts and bolts, and now they're starting to look at all this crazy stuff. I was about to say that.
Why do you think psionics is always being talked about now?
Psionics is a thing.
Psionics and telepathy. Remote viewing is becoming bigger and bigger. Look, none of that was scientific when I was
just crazy. Man.
None of it. And now we know the military.
They were involved in it. It's real. Remote viewing is real.
And the government has been doing this for 50 years.
Yeah, man.
If there's nothing to it, why are they sinking hundreds of millions of dollars?
Yeah, this is real.
And I'm going to get in on this game. There's my remote viewing, and I'm going to get both of Ingo Swan's books tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, he'll dive, man. When he dives, he's going to go all the way.
You said dive, D-I-V-E? Okay,
dive.
Yeah. Don't say die, D-I-E.
No, don't dive.
Dive.
So we wanted to talk about a connection that we saw with Charles Hall.
Yeah, Charles Hall.
So
what a story. What a woo story, right?
Yeah, and there's been a lot of back and forth. Give me just a second. I gotta get comfortable here. Oh.
Take a break. We're going to talk about Charles Hall, who, interestingly enough, was a very important part of Area 51. Not Indian Wells.
Indian Springs.
Indian Springs.
Yeah.
That's not Indian Wells where we had contact in the desert.
Right.
It's Indian Springs. But that's an offshoot area in Area 51. And Hall's experience, he was a weatherman. They wanted him to be a weatherman, but he was in a super duper top secret place. And all of his co-workers forewarned him. They said, be careful about going out in Section 4. There's some bad stuff out there.
I don't know if it was in Section 4.
Yeah, it was.
Was it Section 4?
I watched a video on it from the Y-Files.
So Indian Springs was an interesting place to go and do this stuff. My understanding was when Charles Hall first started there was a weather guy that was basically quitting, and that he was getting pushed off to do something else.
Yep.
And the reason why was because he wasn't necessarily on the up and up, and they were wondering why this guy can't take the weather, and it's obviously a job that's wearing on him. We need to move him to something else. So they outed him, and they brought in Charles Hall, And Charles Hall thought, man, this is a great job. I just get to go out and take the weather, and this is going to be cake. I love this. And it's a good place for him to be. And so he decided.
He didn't mind being alone.
Yeah, he didn't mind
He
none of
loved
that.
it.
Absolutely. And I agree. It's a great job. Until, could you imagine being met in the middle of the night by a white alien creature?
A tall one at that.
Yeah.
Or actually, it was a little girl.
Yeah.
And he helped her. And she was, I'm not going to say glowing white, but he could see that she was white.
Yeah.
And she had shimmering white clothes on.
He said white like paper.
And she was like stuck in the sagebrush or something.
Yeah.
And he got out there and tried to volunteer to help her. He offered her his canteen, do you need help or whatever? And then a great big tall male white being started charging him. And so he ran into the shack and locked himself in for half the night or whatever. And then he got in the truck about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, took off out of there. And on the way out, he saw a tall white lady.
Right.
And he heard telepathically in his mind, thank you for helping my daughter.
Tall white lady.
A tall white lady.
Who else talks about a tall white lady?
Tall white lady. Nobody that we know. Not in modern
Not Chris
time.
Bledsoe. He doesn't
Bledsoe hasn't talked about a lady at all. Interestingly,
it's a connection maybe.
I'm reading Richard Dolan's book, and his wife, Tracy, has had contact with the feminine, with the female.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought, whoa, that is cool. That is interesting.
So Charles,
this feminine idea, I know you masculine guys just live with it. It's on the way. That's the way it is. So.
Yeah. And it's the thing is though is that if it's an ET, there's going to be more than just women. There's going to be a male type. There's going to be a woman type. There's going to be probably different types, just like we have of people that have their military background that is the forefront of their mind. People that are supposed to guard other people. People that are supposed to, they have their certain thing in society that they fulfill, and that runs their life. And this is the gist of their life. So there's certain aliens. I say aliens, ETs, in this tall white category that have their lives basically preset for them. You're going to guard these people. I wonder if that's
kind of the systematic idea that I shared just the other night about Chris Ramsey and his approach to the ETs. It might be interesting.
I think that they're showing us what it's like to get out of the infancy that I was talking about. I think they're showing us with their society how we are to alleviate ourselves of the need for this crazy education and stuff that we do,
which has brainwashed us into thinking the only way to hear and know the truth is if someone in authority tells us. They've almost convinced us we aren't capable of getting the truth ourselves, and that, my dear audience, is what I am absolutely fighting against. I don't believe it. I think we do have the capability. Yeah. He's my example right here. This guy is incredible with learning so much material, and he hasn't had some authority figure telling him what's right and wrong all of his life.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's
that's my little bit of rebellion.
That's exactly what they need to hear. So that's my problem too with education is that, not only do you have an authority figure, now you got crazies that are running around out there with guns that are killing kids. I mean, we can't be subjecting our kids to a type of prison. I mean, you're putting them in there all day long and they have no way to go. And I'm not going to do that. But I'm just saying, let's not put them in that situation anymore. And as a society, we'll grow around it. We'll be fine. We've adapted before. I mean,
we've got vastly better resources now with AI.
Yeah,
to propel us way beyond what any formal education
and not
could
even
possibly.
It doesn't even have to start with AI. It can start with just the idea that maybe my kids don't necessarily need to be subjected to this, and maybe there's another way. Maybe there's another way, and we don't have to necessarily.
Who has been taking options away from us?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
But that's to me is like we're out of date on all this stuff. I believe we're 20 years behind where we should be.
20?
At least 20.
No, just in this
for society.
This state's 40 years.
Oh, yeah, this one's way behind. Yeah, this one's way behind. But in comparison to the world, not only that, but just in comparison to the ETs, I think they're giving us the knowledge by showing us their society. Just like what he said,
Yeah.
the important thing was to show the way they lived. It wasn't that they existed. It was that they lived a certain way. He said that he called his books hospitality, alien hospitality. I think he called it.
Who said that?
Charles Hall made his
Charles
book.
Hall.
Yeah, his
No
books are
kidding.
called
I'm
hospitality.
gonna have to get that.
And it was
hospitality. That'll
and it was
make those who think they're demons pretty angry.
Well, yeah. And the thing is that they were so far from that too.
Oh,
they were
sure.
they're frail beings that are even more frail than us. You can't push them, you can't touch them, they'll break, man. They're like really frail. And
that's why they control us with their mind, maybe.
Exactly.
That's why they freeze you.
No, they did. They can. Yeah, they did all that stuff to Charles. They put him through a lot of different scenarios, and they kind of used him as a guinea pig, and they tried to see, can we befriend this guy? Can we actually be friends with humans on this level? I think that he did a great job, by the way. And where people want to say, oh, he's been debunked. Okay, this is where I want to enter the woo. He's not been debunked. And I tell you why. Because even if it's been said that he's debunked and that he doesn't have the credentials and he wasn't where he said he was, well, neither was Lazar, and neither is Put Off right now, and neither is Elizondo right now, and neither is Corbell right now, and neither is any of those guys. Why do they know what they know? They don't have credentials to know what they know, but they know it. That's an interesting story, isn't it? What about Tom DeLonge? Just a Blink, what is he? A Blink 182? No.
I didn't like
Blink
how he
182?
treated Chris Bledsoe in his movie, however.
Well, I'm just saying.
It's all right.
That these people, they don't have the credential. And they, so what? So Bob Lazar, right? So it kind of leads into Bob Lazar. Indian Springs, by the way, I'm just going to put this as a little side note, that when Bob Lazar got in trouble for bringing his friends out to see the UFOs over the mountainside on Wednesday nights, that when he got in trouble, they took him to Indian Springs to debrief him about what he knew. They didn't take him to S4. They didn't take him to Area 51. They took him to Indian Springs.
Or Area 52. Interesting.
Which is an interesting connection there. Small
that's where
connection.
Charles Hall started. Yeah.
Exactly. So I want to put that in there because back then, Bob knew it was a defunct airbase. Does that mean that he was there? And he knew that place was a defunct airbase? Or does everybody out there know that that's a defunct airbase?
Oh, I knew it.
Okay.
I knew it.
So
Hecklefish knew it.
Right.
Yeah, it's a defunct airbase.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't. I like the little.
But back then, this is
89.
89.
Back then, what years are we
89.
talking? 89. Yeah, right.
So maybe not. But I can tell you this: when he said it's kind of a defunct airbase, Charles Hall, he was using it as if it was his platform for his job. So was it defunct back then too? I think it was in use. I think they were using it. And not only that, but he said you can do a simple Google Maps right now and you can find their craft sometimes out there in Indian Springs, which I've done, by the way.
Have you really?
I have. And I can tell you,
you rebel.
There's some interesting things out on those mountainsides.
Hey, be careful. I don't want you disappearing before I empty your brain for the next 20
Everybody
years.
that got Google Maps has gone over Area 51. You know that's a place you want to see. So you went and did it. But the thing that you didn't do was you didn't go to Indian Springs. You went over all of Area 51 and where S4 is supposed to be. But go check out Indian Springs and look at the mountainsides and the surrounding areas. What was the shape of the craft that he said? It was an egg.
It was an egg.
Egg-shaped.
Egg-shaped.
Not a tic-tac, not a disc, none of that. These are egg-shaped craft.
Talk about scramble your brains.
These are very interesting craft.
Yeah.
And he even said that sometimes they'd break down out in the middle when they'd take off. He says he saw one that was coming in all loose and it was breaking down.
But the sport model he liked wasn't egg-shaped, right? Or was it?
Well, the sport model you're talking about, isn't that Lazar? Lazar's.
Oh, yeah. You're saying Charles Hall.
I'm saying Charles Hall saw the eggs.
Yeah, well, I'd like the sport model from Lazar.
Me too, and I would love to fly it.
I want to be a hot. I don't care if I fly any of them. All of them would be good.
It would be uncomfortable.
I'm with Fravor on that.
3.5 foot alien. Could you?
Oh,
crouch
yeah,
down
that's
there?
true, right? We probably couldn't even fit into the thing.
I'd probably, yeah.
It's only 3 feet tall. We'd have to lay down on our
I'd
stomach.
get stuck at the portal trying to get in there.
I might if I'm not careful.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But the interesting part about Charles Hall, well, there's a lot of interesting parts about Charles Hall. He didn't even tell his wife. He didn't even tell his wife that he had seen this stuff until after they were married. And so there's a lot of
kidding.
yeah, because he didn't want her to look at him like, oh, this is that weird alien guy. But she believed him. She thinks that he's a straight shooter. I mean, and she's still with him, been with him for many, many years. And I got to tell you, man, I'm married. And if my wife did see me as a straight shooter, she'd be like, yeah, he's kind of loose with what he says. She doesn't ever say that. She says, well, now that I've seen shit with him, I kind of have to believe him. It's the same thing that with Charles Hall. Well, he's a straight shooter. I kind of got to believe it. And so she, you know, if you have good women in your life that are able to say, hey, you know what, that's wrong. It's a good thing because it gives you that education from a woman's perspective. I think it's important that he has that.
Especially when you get a phone call and your wife yells at you, get your butt up here, grab this phone.
From experience. Oh, man, that was so funny.
He called me once and I was in the basement and my wife came to the head of the stairs and just yelled at me, cracked him up.
So just recently, Dan Sheehan.
Oh, this is a bombshell he just told me about tonight.
Dan
I'll let
Sheehan
you tell it.
said,
Listen to this. Dan Sheehan, I've had him on my show too. We all know who Sheehan is, really.
Okay, Dan Sheehan said,
you ready for this?
That the alien interview might have been a tall gray or a tall white.
And it's real.
And it's
it
real.
Actually happened.
And it's real. He says it's actually happened. This is Dan Sheehan. You guys can go look it up. It's very, very interesting. This is why I'm saying we need to bring the woo in. Because if you're bringing the tall white in the door, I want to introduce you to who introduced that tall white, which is going to be Charles Hall, all the generals that he's talked to, all the captains and majors and stuff that are out there.
I'll be right back.
All of those people that have dealt with those tall whites out at Indian Springs, and then Indian Springs is where they go and debrief Lazar. Maybe the room where he was being debriefed is where this may have taken place. You know, you have to start taking the subtle, nuanced connections that this guy's made, Craig Oliver, and I'm sure he's gotten his connections from other people too, and other resources, and has done his own research too. So I'm giving him full credit for all of that stuff. But there are certain nuanced things throughout this whole thing that I've said from the beginning of when I hung out with Backyard Professor, the 3 podcasts that I've done with him. There is a single silver thread of truth that has to be there because of the nuance. And what I mean by that is you can't fake the nuance. So there's saying things that are like allegorically, hey, this is the woo, and it's above that line. And then there's things that are below that, like, yeah, the ET went to the bathroom, you know. But then there's this line too, kind of like with Dan Burish, where there's something there because he was really, really fast to say how the P-45s and the P-52s interacted and the treaties between this system and that system, and really, really fast. And there was nothing else before that where anybody said anything like that. And then you bring in the time travel woo, you know? So now you've got Burish and the time travel woo, and how Dan Sherman knew, or they knew about Dan Sherman's future and how he's going to be predisposed. So you're bringing in a lot of different woo from a lot of different angles. But if it all turns out that, like Dan Sheehan just said, that they interviewed a tall white, that just turns everything on its head and says, wait a minute, maybe this is the real connection and this is the real woo. And now we're bringing in all that woo, the big Magombo of woo.
Woo.
And it's funny when I say woo. To me, it's just the stuff that you would want to put behind you and go, it's kind of dirty. I don't know if I want to play with it yet, you know, because it sounds kind of, I don't know. But in reality, it's starting to become the most thing that's coming to the forefront. And they're starting to show you little tidbits. And I think the reason why that is because they're afraid of that. They are afraid that you're going to be afraid of that. They're afraid that when they say, hey, there's these tall whites that live out in Indian Springs, and we've known about them for 50 years, 60 years, whatever. And now we got ET that's doing abductions, and we let them. And now we've got, I mean, it's one thing after another that's scary. You know what I mean? And they're going to give you that whole thing, the Epstein thing. Oh my gosh. They're going to introduce that and how that all came about, the Israeli Space Force. This is a lot of out there stuff that is now really starting to come in. It's starting to come in, and they're starting to say, well, this might be the scary stuff that you didn't want to know. But once you start asking the questions, once the legislation goes through and we get to ask our questions because they just came out with full disclosure, what is one of the first questions you're going to ask? What have we learned from our interactions with ET? And they're going to tell you just what they've learned from ET's interactions, what ET knows about us, and what ET knows about the universe, and what ET knows about as much as they can give us.
I want them to teach us how to fly their craft.
And that too, they're going to maybe tell us how the nuts and bolts. Yeah, how the nuts and bolts work.
Could you imagine, instead of seeing an Indy 500, if we could see a Milky Way 500 with UFOs? Can you imagine the size of the crowd that would garner? It would take us 250,000 years to build the bleachers.
I think this kind of leads into Bill Uhouse and Will Uhouse.
It does, yeah.
How those crafts that he was talking about in the 50s,
right? How
Bill was creating simulators that had such distortion involved because of the gravitational effects.
Yeah.
That the high electricity that they had to use to build those things would mess with the pilots when they got into the craft.
Yeah.
He said the pilots would get really disoriented. They'd get sick. It took sometimes weeks for the pilots to just enter the crafts. I mean, this is an interesting, like, offbeat talk on this talk that we're having, but it needs to be said too, because this is another part of the woo, or what you would call something that you just kind of put away and was like, yeah, Bill, you kind of sound goofy. But at the same time, now we're going,
everybody in this topic sounds goofy.
Right? How goofy does he sound now? That we have Dan Sheehan saying,
right?
We're interviewing a white, we're doing this out in Indian Springs. Okay, so now we got to look at that. We look at Bill Uhouse and Will Uhouse and their crafts that they ran simulations so then pilots could pilot them. So they were getting into the craft at first, and I don't necessarily know if the crafts that they were getting into were what you would call able to have a weapon platform put on them. So I don't
think any of them have.
I don't think they have. And here's the thing that I want to bring to you guys. Here's the exclusive time. Those vehicles, according to Bill Uhouse and Will Uhouse, you can't put a weapon on them. So
yes.
So the reason
but that's the only reason the military wants them.
But the military is trying to tell you, hey, we have them. We can't back engineer them because we want to put weapons on them, and we can't. So they've come to this wall where they're going, why is it? See, they don't want to give you that information because maybe Russia or China has figured out a way to put a weapon on it. But so far, the way that they're doing it, they've not found a way to put a weapon on a gravitational craft. Because what happens when you have gravity on board a craft? You launch that missile, and it comes back. And it blows you up,
especially with
or it hits you and it knocks you out of your orientation. Yeah. Okay, so you have to think about that.
See, this is why Sheehan's. Sorry to interrupt you, but Sheehan's. This thought just struck me. Sheehan is so importantly correct when he says we can't keep going with the military mindset of weaponizing everything and fighting wars. We need a different mindset dealing with the ETs, with the UFOs, the UAPs, the aliens, whatever you want to call them. But the military attitude of we own everything, we'll just take it over. And you damn right, we're going to make a bigger, more powerful weapon than you have. That's gotta go. We, the people, have to start standing up and screaming, knock off the weapon attitude. I mean worldwide, because there's 8 billion of us.
Right.
We have the right to live in peace, I would propose.
So I hate to be confrontational when it comes to physics, that I want to say because I'm going to address this gentleman here.
Okay.
This is like listening to the Little Rascals discuss physics. Oh boy, utter nonsense, but entertaining. You know what's interesting? I want to tell you two things. I love you, man. Okay, and here's the thing. The first one is Eric Weinstein says we're not even given we haven't been given the full story about physics. So even you don't know what all physics is.
That's obvious.
And then number two is that the physics that I talk about are physics I can tell you I don't know shit about. and the physics
AI, chat GTP, you'll learn. You'll learn.
If I use some AI or whatever, I can go learn it. I don't need to know it. So again, man, maybe you weren't addressing us, but I think it's funny.
He probably was.
I think it's funny when people say that kind of shit because there's nothing to be said there. Like everybody can go learn it. It's all out there. And if it's not, like Weinstein said, you don't even know it. Sorry.
Yeah. Check out Weinstein's physics claims.
Please do.
With AI.
Please do.
Hey, that would be fun.
Yeah.
He had the big controversy that he wouldn't put it into a paper for a while. He used his lecture as the basis of his new unified theory or whatever it was he was working on.
Right. Yeah. So let's go back to the craft. So we were talking about how he called it like a benevolent craft. But I don't think that's what he was really trying to say, was that it was a peaceful craft. I think what he was trying to say is these crafts are just here to observe. They're not here to be weaponized. They're not here to have any extra rivets or bolts or nuts. They're built to be the perfect thing that they are and not anything else. They only have one job to do when they're here. Now, these are the ones he's talking about. Not saying there isn't a plethora of other ones, but the ones he's talking about are nothing more than observational crafts. But there was ETs on them. So we're talking about J-Rod was on one of them. And that J-Rod, if you want to talk about Burish, that J-Rod's name is Kaela. So Kaela was on one of them. And then if you go back to the other one, he had one at Los Alamos that walked around and talked to the scientists. Yeah. It was around for years.
1952 is when J-Rod died, wasn't it?
The one alien he's talking about was around for years. And he'd come in once a year and talk to the guys and try and help them figure out physics and all kinds of other knowledge. And he said, you know, he didn't look too disgusting to him. He didn't look like a gray anything. He had more of a pale skin, sure. But
you know, this is still so weird to say that.
Weird, but
isn't it?
We're bringing it in.
But we're bringing it in.
We're bringing it in because at this point,
it's part of the story. It's part of the connection. There's patterns we can all keep discovering. I'm just saying. And interestingly, Bryce Zabel just put out a 34-second video disagreeing with Ross Coulthart that the Tic Tacs are Lockheed Martin. He said he loves Ross. He supports him. He's a great partner, kind of like Nate is with me, but there's no way it's our tech. So just so you know, I'm hoping this isn't
I'm on the fence.
The basis to splitting up the community and get arguing among ourselves again.
When I got here, we had that talk before any of this came on, and I said, listen carefully to what they're saying, though. They're both right, in my opinion, and here's why. He's saying it's being controlled psionically, which means it's their craft. But he's saying we have it, and so we can use it. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we back engineered that craft. It means that we're using their craft with our psionic guy.
Oh, yeah.
See what I'm saying? So Zabel can say that craft isn't ours, and he'd be right. And Coulthart could say, well, it's being piloted by our guy, and he'd be right. You can have a craft from somewhere else and be piloted by a human if psionics is psionics, and it's the same universally.
I'll be curious to see if they bring out that explanation.
Yeah,
that'll be.
I hope so.
It'll be interesting.
I hope that.
I'm just sure Ross has gotten so much pushback. He's got to come out and explain a little bit more. I think him and Zabel will talk together. By the way, when I ran into Bryce, I shook his hand and I go, Bryce Zabel, how you doing? And he looked right up at me and he goes, it's Zabel. And okay, I'll say Zabel from now. So just so the rest of you know, it is Zabel.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Zabel.
Zabel is Zabel.
So
what else do we want to cover?
We've made a lot
We pretty much done it pretty good. Oh, wow. Tip the tail. Oh, yeah, we're right on. We're good. An hour 20, so that was just about right.
So
covered every subject we wanted to, didn't we?
I think we covered the main topics. I think that staying.
That Trump has been read into this program.
Yeah, we're talking about tops. Okay, so the highlights of the last few weeks, there are a lot of them, man.
Yeah, there are.
You got to watch Pavel. You got to watch Cosmic Road. You got to watch Area 52. I mean, all those guys.
Watch out that BYP guy, though.
Yeah, hats off to all those guys. They're doing amazing work.
They really are.
And we were trying to get the skinny on all this stuff. We were trying to get the exclusive on some of this stuff, and already they're talking about tall whites. They're talking about the same stuff we're talking about, and we're late to the punch by hours. I mean, it's like, come on, guys, throw us a bone.
Coalescing with our ideas, and that can be good.
Yeah,
that can be good.
Anyway, I think that we hit all the points, but keeping up with the topics that are coming out just recently, and not forgetting the legacy, okay? Because all that stuff that's sitting back there in the legacy, sometimes it's good to go back and see if you can pluck a nuance out of there and say, wait a minute, that connects with this up front, in the front. So sometimes you got to go back and look, because you're now a more mature person. I mean, I've done this for 24 years. If you go back when I was in my 20s, I'm a lot more mature now than when I was in my 20s. So I want to go.
I mean, you are.
I hope so. I want to go back and I want to grab some of those things that my 20-year-old brain couldn't pick up and bring it to the forefront and say, wait a minute, guys, like the Indian Springs connection.
It always helps to research. That's what it means. Right. Search again. Yep. There's something you've missed. I got that from Isaac Asimov. So yeah, research. Why not? There's stuff we always miss.
I love Linda Moulton Howe, by the way. I think she's got
you just labeled yourself.
Some of the coolest people out there that she interviews.
She's pretty spectacular.
Man, she's interviewed a lot of cool woo people. I mean, woo people. You want to talk about woo? Alaskan pyramids, man, that are black, that are underneath the ground, that are self-illuminated. I mean,
stuff under Antarctica.
Yeah, all this crazy
all
stuff.
Kinds of stuff.
But bringing all that woo in, remember.
Then we've got chambers under the Pyramid of Giza now, too.
Yeah.
I haven't even touched that.
Full cities, yet. I haven't even looked at it.
Full cities, yeah.
There's so much other stuff going on in ufology that the pyramids.
But I don't know how valid that is. I'm just simply throwing it. I haven't studied it.
I didn't study it.
And I can tell you right now, I don't believe it yet. But that's what research is for, is to see and learn and understand. All right, there's stuff here that I don't know. But I also think there is actually a connection with the pyramids and something with UFOs.
You know what's
I sincerely do. I just don't know what that connection is yet.
You know what's kind of happening over here in the chat is you're bringing up stuff that we have actually, or that at least personally I have researched, and I like to do Q&As kind of, because I see this guy's talking about, he says, look into Mount Shasta. Well, there's a lot of mountain sides that people should look into if they want to find hidden tunnels and hidden doorways and things like that. Sure. Portals, we've talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
That if you look into certain things, there's other places that are just as cool as Mount Shasta.
But Mount Shasta is an important one.
It is.
It's a big one. That's true.
There's
stuff down in Peru too.
There's a mountain in Colorado that I've heard has a lot of interesting stuff going on in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
And there's the Salt Lake City Temple of the Mormons.
Salt Lake City.
I'm joking. I just wanted to throw that out there to tickle my Mormons in my audience.
You know, I was told at one point the Area 51.
They would like it if it was a portal.
I was told at one point that Area 51 moved to Tonopah, Utah. and that there might be something out in Utah.
What about the little old Relief Society sisters in Parowan, Utah?
Yeah, man. I mean,
population 12.
This guy's bringing in all that religion woo now, see?
Hey, you got to put the science and the religion woo together, man.
Okay, so the Egyptian pyramids underground, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Volcanoes in Mexico. I've heard about ETs coming in and out of volcanoes.
Yeah.
I have heard about
even that Sedona. Arizona.
Come on, keep rolling, guys. Bring in the woo.
Mount
Hayes, there you go. There's another one.
Arizona.
Absolutely.
Is Dead Fish Cheese or whatever his name in here? Dean Pollard, he's a good guy. Oh, I keep hitting that table. Sorry.
I got it.
We're so far away, we can't read your comments. He can with his eyes better.
I'm trying now with this.
Dean Pollard. Oh, Heiser Soze. Good to see. Yes, Dead Fish Cheese Spread. Good to see you
Cheyenne.
guys too.
That's what I was
and
talking
Burn
about.
Dude. And Sean.
What about
yeah.
What about the Denver airport? That's an interesting topic. That's a weird place. Like all the stuff that's been said about that, how they have all the depictions of apocalyptic events on the walls and stuff. Like that's
on the Denver airport.
Denver airport, yeah. This is the Denver
Am I that
airport,
far
right?
behind?
You guys know that's a strange.
Oh, come on. Really?
Yeah. It's
You're not just making this up.
no.
Why wouldn't that be on the news?
Well, I don't know, man, but I'll tell you what, the Denver airport, from my understanding, has so many weird paintings on those walls. I mean,
Oh, really?
I would have paid to buy
Heck,
those.
if I'd known
Yes,
that
Denver,
last time
yeah.
I was there, I'd have gone in there.
Denver
I didn't know
airport's
that.
creepy. Look at it. They're
Yeah,
saying.
there it is. All right.
Yeah, it's
hey,
weird.
Cameron, good to see you.
There you go, Vern.
Oh, and the cynical banana. I love his.
Oh, he's
handle.
talking about the
Is that
Kecksburg
awesome?
event.
Cynical banana. He's
I love
awesome.
that. Yeah, the Kecksburg event, man. I remember
I've got
that.
the coolest flipping audience.
You do have some
I've
good
got the
people there.
coolest flipping friends to share information
So
with.
Kecksburg, isn't that the one that had the alien that they had to bury out in their little in like the 1890s or something?
Where?
Is that the one? Is that the Kecksburg event? I know that they buried an alien and then they went to go unbury him and found out he wasn't there. I know that happened.
He undeaded his deadness, huh?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah. So he's walking around the airport. It's weird, man.
You can read that. You've got great eyes.
Yeah, he walked around the airport. It's weird. Denver airport's a strange one.
I'll be darned. Well, Volcommermaid.
You didn't miss it.
Volcommermaid.
You didn't miss it. You're here.
No, you're here. It's all good.
You didn't hear
it's all
of it.
recorded
You can go back.
too.
Yeah, go back.
Yeah. We're just sitting here blabbing and gabbing and sharing the woo.
We want to get with our audience and talk with them and let them ask questions, and because these guys they have knowledge too, and they might have some nuances that you can pick up on.
I guarantee they do.
Oh yeah, they seem
absolutely.
To be. Okay, so Kecksburg was the 60s, 70s bell shaper. Is that the one that was flying over the lady and her son and the grandma and like burned up their and burned up their car, right? Like irradiated them or something. I was told if that's the same one, that's the one that our man Richard Doty said that he knew about, and that was our craft, and that we tried to back engineer one of their craft, and we used some of our crap, and we're the ones that radiated those people, and those people actually deserve to be given their health care because of our government.
How interesting.
If that's the same one. Yeah, the Aurora, Texas. That's the buried one. Yep, that was a cool story. I like that one.
I've never heard it.
So yeah, the tunnels underground. So that's another thing.
I have heard about.
You can't go underneath the Denver airport now, or my understanding is you can't. But there is tunnels underneath there that they built.
No kidding. I wonder why. Interesting. To hide the UFOs.
So it's funny you said time loop. I've always believed that we live in a corrupted timeline because of
this timeline things, and they say the timelines are starting to cross, and that's why events are starting to pack in. I just recently ran across the whole idea of timelines and changing, and changing them and making them. Yeah. That would be a fun episode to do together.
Well, the thing about the Mandela effect is that it's
Nelson Mandela started it.
Yeah. Well, what happened was he was in prison, and people thought he died in that prison.
Right.
But he actually got let out.
And
then he got married. Yep. And then he wanted to die because his old lady was a piece. No, I'm just joking. I don't know why he died. I just know that he came out of prison and he didn't die in that prison, and people thought he did.
Yeah.
And so many people thought he did that they thought, holy crap, we're on a corrupt timeline. But before that, I was starting to see that we were kind of on a corrupted timeline, because when you start talking to certain people, the way that they talk, some people talk like as if they are from the future, and it makes you wonder, am I not talking to somebody who's like a hybrid or something? And I did talk to some of those people when I worked at a car dealership. I even told him about them. I don't know if I went into detail with you guys. Maybe I did. They had these interesting things in the blacks of their eyes that were squares that looked like opalescent square chips, like Intel chips.
In their eyes.
Yeah. So take that for what you will. If you ever see anybody that has that weird thing going on, I asked them if they had surgery. They said no. They didn't want to give me too much information. They were from a sensitive place that is around here where they work, and that's what they were doing at the time. And we didn't go into detail, and I had to send them off into their car. But anyway, moving on.
You're just telling them all.
There's a time capsule buried under the stone that says New World Airport. Yeah,
I'm
that
gonna
New World
go
Airport
refill my mug
Commission.
real quick. I'll be right
so
back.
That New World Order, the New World Order conspiracy, that's interesting. I think maybe they played on that, obviously, and I think that it's a good story. Like New World Order. I think that the New World Order is kind of like on our bills, right? The Novus Ordo Seclorum. You get the New World Order, but I think now the New World Order would be really hard to pull off given all of the social media and all of the internet and everybody who says that, you kind of outed that. Like, it's so out there now that I don't think people would allow that to happen, just by personal experience. Sure. Explosive, ask your question. Runaway civilization. Okay, there you go. So I was told that there is a runaway civilization. I was told that that they have it out, in space, but I think it's a collaboration of a bunch of different, kind of like the UN. We have a bunch of different representatives out there. I was told that once. Yeah. Well, if it's not aliens visiting Earth, why? Okay, I'm not saying that it is aliens, but what I'm saying is there is a there, whatever that is, and it doesn't have to be aliens. And what would it take to convince me that they weren't here? Just show me that all the other stuff that they're talking about isn't real. It's pretty simple. I mean, just show me what you've already shown me, but show me that it's not real. Well, internet research doesn't necessarily have to be valid in every case. But when you talk about people that have credentials and people that are straight shooters, and if your family members have been in the military and straight shooters, a lot of the time it's really difficult to not believe those straight shooters. And so you can say, hey, maybe looking on the internet or whatever isn't valid research. Well, what is valid research then? Is it valid to read books? Is it valid to know the physics of everything? Because we don't. And is it what makes it valid and what makes it invalid? Those two things will constantly ram into each other like this, and you don't know the answer either. Sorry, but you don't. Willie Strieber, he's a fascinating character.
He's got a good sense of humor.
I haven't dove all the way into everything that he says, and there's a lot of people that say he's complete woo, but you know what? If the woo's coming in, bring him on in. But the thing is, people will be outed eventually on who's talking truth and not, and if it doesn't come to fruition ever, well, we had a good story, didn't we? We had a good time. I mean, that's all I'm about. Let's explore together this funny stuff. People are all into it, right? There's got to be something going on there, whether it's just, hey, let's have a good time hanging out with the professor talking about campfire stories. You do it anyway. You entertain yourself with dumber shit.
I like how you put I'm going to quote you.
I've recorded them too, man. Yeah. I've seen some crazy shit myself. Yeah, so like I said, there's no way to validate or invalidate. You have to go by what you know. I mean, do people have credentials? Are you able to see a subtlety that can't be lied about? That's another thing. Like, when people talk, they have certain ways of talking. There's a way of looking at things. If you pay close attention, 40 years of life on this planet, I can tell some things are shit, and I can tell some things are truth, and I can tell some things are complete fucking woo. Excuse my language. I told him I wouldn't drop the F-bomb, but...
Oh, man. Now I'm going to have to edit that.
I'm sorry, man.
No, I'm kidding. It's crazy, though, because some of the complete woo is actually making its way into our discourse now.
Yeah. So
weird.
Strieber again. I can't speak educationally about Strieber because I don't know a lot about him.
I don't know a lot about him either.
But what I can say is from what I've seen so far, is it doesn't surprise me that he's going evangelical or that he's talking a certain way like that. I mean, look, there are people that think these are angels. There are people that think that these are balls of light that come from God Himself. I mean, so all the woo is coming in, man.
We just don't know.
All of it's coming in. We don't know. So that's interesting. I've done that, Tony. I've actually
what's he saying?
Mess with contrast and heat and stuff on my camera to see. Sometimes you can see the shape inside of those things if you mess with that stuff. Oh man, we need to go up a little bit.
Read the question if you can too, because the audience watching won't be able to.
So they're talking about the murals in the Denver airport and the different symbolized innocence.
You got him on that subject. Way to go.
Yeah.
That's a new one on me. That's cool.
It's crazy looking, man. Yeah. Okay. You saw a triangle. It was thousands of miles. I saw a bolt of light, dude, that come in nice and slow and hung out, chilled next to a tree, and took off as fast as my finger. Here, I'll show you. It went that fast off my screen. So that tells you, as far up as it was and as far away as it was, I had an Air Force guy look at that, and he told me it's thousands of miles an hour.
Now, I've never seen anything quite like that.
Well, I showed it to you. I sent it to you.
I mean,
me personally. You personally.
Yeah.
He needs to see his own stuff.
The only thing I've seen is my car putt down the road at 60 miles an hour a few times.
So, yes, I edit a lot of the videos I capture of craft orbs and simply edit, and I'm able to capture unexplainable phenomena. That's interesting. To me, that sounds like just you messing around with a camera and catching little weird things on your camera. But, maybe you are capturing something. I can't say one way or the other. So Jay Widener is the man that disclosed Denver. I mean, it was gonna have to be eventually, because holy crap, that place is weird, man. They've got so many depictions of death and innocence and war, and oh my gosh.
I'm gonna have to get over there. That'd be fun to see it.
Who's Anomalous Vegas?
Oh, Anomalous Vegas. He's down in Las Vegas, and he videos. He gets a lot of orbs.
Oh, okay.
Flying around Vegas.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Some people are gung ho on.
Yeah,
CE5.
I've had him on my show. Yeah,
so CE5 to me is one of those things that I consider woo, like so woo that I'm not getting into.
What is
CE5? Trying to contact
CE5?
aliens.
Yeah. Well, that's psionics. The same thing almost, in a way. I mean, there's some difference, but yeah, Jake does it through sound.
So we actually do have that written down here that the aliens will meet you when they're ready. I think aliens, ETs, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that they're going to show themselves.
They will be the disclosers.
They're going to be the disclosers, absolutely. At the end of the day, you can't believe any of this shit, right? But the moment you see an alien, like what if I just saw the alien and he didn't? I'm going to believe 100%, and there's no telling me one way or the other. So it's going to have to be a mass thing, right?
If they decide to do it that way. I mean, RD6 Killer Clark is documenting hundreds of cases, but they're all individuals, not group, not mass. I mean, they're not showing themselves to the entire country of Guatemala. So that's interesting.
So the fact that you saw a blue-white orb, that's interesting, because that's the only other type of orb I've seen personally. I saw an orange one, and I've seen blue-white ones, like silver, like a silver blue. It's like a mix, almost platinum. Oh, wow, that's cool.
What?
A completely flat craft.
Huh?
One of the guys said that there was a completely flat craft that he saw. That I've never heard of that.
Is it still going up?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Actually, human consciousness. Does the military have technology that interacts with human consciousness? I'm glad you brought that up. Let me tell you something that I've believed for a lot of years, and this is going to go woo, but this is my own woo that nobody's ever said before. I believe they have Fadar.
Have what?
What I call Fadar. Now, I don't know if a lot of people have ever heard of anything like that, but I believe that the not the military necessarily, but maybe the CIA, NSA, FBI, I think all those the what are those called? Three-letter agencies.
Three-letter agencies.
I think they have a hold of a technology that can hone in on fear.
On fear.
Can you slide that back?
Fadar. Oh,
I call it Fadar. It hones
Fadar.
in on fear.
This one?
Yeah. Okay. Good. Black rectangle crossed over the road in front of me. Got ambiguous.
Well, they're trying to get it if they don't have it already. Yeah, they very well could by now.
I just think that they have what I call Fadar. Which is a fear
That's
radar.
interesting. Fear radar. So we need to get LADAR invented next.
I think it's a psionic thing. Actually, I think it's a telepathic radar that can view whether or not you're having excess fear, which sounds weird. But
yeah, that's interesting.
Love that 4-letter word for the 3-letter agencies. Me too.
Yeah. Suck. S-U-K. Suck. I was spelling bee champ through 7th grade, and then Drew Smith beat me, the dork.
Yeah, dead fish cheese spread. I saw a pure orange one too.
He's made a movie.
Okay.
What's the name of your movie, Dead Fish? I want to watch it this week. Write it, put it up there in the comments, or documentary or movie or something. Tell us about it, or tell us what the name of it is. Yeah, he's big. He's big stuff. I can't believe you can read that. My eyes are so bad. That's interesting. Our Bigfoot's really gray aliens shapeshifted. That's an interesting idea.
It's woo, possible.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they say the orbs, they say some orbs, they've seen beings that look kind of like us, 2 arms, 2 legs, come out of the orbs. So why not? But I have trouble with Bigfoot. That's just me. I don't with orbs, but I do with Bigfoot. I don't with saucers either.
Well, Tony, to answer your question there, well, not really a question, but you can confirm through practice and meditation the experience to be visited by phenomena. I've captured many pulsating orbs that use signatures with lights vibration and frequency like Morse code. If you go back to the Rendlesham Forest thing, he talked about how it had binary code when he touched it, and it talked about different frequencies. Just recently, I heard something from Corso's son, Philip Corso Jr., who said that counter-rotating frequencies of Earth is something to look into.
Yeah, and crop circles have had binary stuff too. Hold on, I got to take this off. All right, there we go. All right.
So, Bigfoot file, let's see. So, we're talking about...
You guys are into Bigfoot, aren't you?
Well, Bigfoot, honestly, I think is that there is evidence out there of something out there. I don't know what it is, but and you can look into it, and you can... I think the bones is most people's problem. Where's the bones, you know? And honestly...
Where's the beast?
Where's the beast? Yeah, where's the beast? Where's the bones? Where's... You know, and it's possible that that's a... You know, if Chewbacca could be real... then maybe
that was Bigfoot's cousin.
And you can go through a portal. I've heard that.
I'm telling you. You saw him go through the portal in Star Wars.
Right.
His cousin's got space travel experience.
And for me, if you're asking me if Bigfoot's real, I think there's some evidence that there's a there, but I don't know what it is.
I'm not even convinced by the evidence. And yes, I've seen Jeff Meldrum's book on it. Haven't read it all the way through yet, but I don't know. It's one of those things. I'm having so much fun with the UFO stuff that I don't want to lose time looking into the Bigfoot stuff. I know I've got a neighbor over here, a real dear friend of mine, who just absolutely swears by it. And he says he's seen it here. And yeah.
Well, the
That's
actual
good. It's
the
all
actual
good.
evidence, when you say we should have the actual evidence of big ass foot right now.
Of course, then, when you stop and think about it, like Jesse Michael says, the actual evidence for UFOs isn't all that much better. It's not like it's overwhelmingly good, right?
Well, if you got a chunk of metal here and there, but then you go and say it's
we've
attached
got
to
the historical records too.
Well, but we're talking about solid. So if
Yeah.
you're talking about solid evidence, let's say we have a chunk of metal here and there, it's had to come off of something. And then you go and follow the provenance of where it came from, and they say it came off of a full-size craft, and I know it. You have to know the guys, and I don't know them personally, so I can't say, hey, there's a silver cord that leads to that guy, because I don't know if that truth leads to him. But the people
That's
like
true.
Gary Nolan, he's saying there is that silver cord. So you kind of have to base your idea on that. Do you think Gary Nolan is a high standard?
But just remember, even that hasn't convinced everyone,
right?
Any more than any video
And that's fine.
or any picture.
Yeah.
People say, well, what I need you to do is show me the solid evidence. Well, how do you define evidence? How do you define proof? Because what's proof for me may not be proof for you, et cetera, et cetera. That's a subjective view.
Okay, so here's where we're going to end the whole Bigfoot thing.
Okay, good.
Obviously, the professor doesn't believe in him.
No.
And I believe in him that much.
Not much. Too much.
So you guys can go talk about Bigfoot on another channel.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's big. It's all good.
Bigfoot's weird to me. I mean, I want to say that if it's real, it could be another type species of ET, and that's okay with me.
It could,
because it disappears. I don't see bones. That's my problem too.
Yeah.
I don't see bones. I just don't see it. And I've been out in the forest a lot. I'm talking about, I'm an Idaho kid, and I've been out in these forests all over the place.
Yeah.
Rocky Mountains, all over the place.
All over the place.
In the deep woods, in the deep bear-ridden woods.
But that's your problem. It's in Oregon.
It's everywhere. You go look at the map of where they've seen Bigfoot.
It's out there.
Everywhere.
It's out there in the deserts of Oklahoma, or the swamps of Oklahoma, if that's what's there. Anyway, yeah.
Well, we got 4 people that left, so I figure they're Bigfoot advocates.
Yeah, I was going to say, the minute I say I don't believe in something, whatever it is, I lose 4 to 10 subscribers.
Right.
It's so fascinating. People can't even stand it if you don't believe just like them, they don't want to listen to you. It's fascinating. That's the cultural brainwash that we have to fight against.
So you said Nephites, as if that actually sounds Mormon.
It is.
Okay.
What'd they say about Nephites?
Well, the Nephites, to me, Nephilim. But
the Nephilim, Nephi, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. The Apocrypha talks about Nephi, and yeah, the Nephilim, that's kind of a fun subject.
I think that if you think about it correctly, we're all descendants of the Nephilim.
Because that might make a fun video.
Well, because we came from, if you follow the biblical story, we didn't come from Adam and Eve. We actually came from
Noah.
No.
You're right. There's the bottle.
Moses.
No, Noah.
Noah.
Only
Noah.
8 people survived,
Noah.
And from there came the rest of.
Right, because he was one of the ordained ones, right? He was in God's favor.
Hey, he glowed in the dark, according to the Dead Sea Scroll fragment.
But we survived. So if he survived, then part of that genetic line survived. So if you think about it, we all kind of came from the Nephilim. They're talking about giants.
Sounds like hearsay.
They're talking about giants. Okay, so
yeah, giants, Nephilim.
Biblical giants.
I'm giant right here in my belly.
So I have some thoughts on it, but I don't know if that's for this show.
No, we'll do that another time. Stay calm, everybody, and carry on. Oh wait, we have to Nate on, not carry on.
Enkidu was Bigfoot.
Huh? I thought we ended Bigfoot.
Yeah, I thought Bigfoot was done.
No, these guys won't leave Bigfoot alone. And it's all good.
Okay. Yeah. T-Hammer, good. Stick to your guns. If it's real, it's real. And you're going to be outed as one of the guys that knew the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. Just remember, one of the things that I've learned through studying philosophy is we don't need someone else's verification in order to understand truth. I mean, if nobody else will verify it to you, so what? It doesn't matter.
What was your question, Tim?
Why would you need someone else's verification for your truth? And so, but see, again, the cultural brainwash is such that you can't possibly even dare speak your truth unless you have a lot of people backing you up. Otherwise, you can't have it right. Well, that's pure poppycock.
Tim, what was your question about the pyramid, man?
Uh-oh. We're asking about the pyramid. I can't find. Was it Tim? Oh, Timmern? Timmern? He's a good guy.
It was up a little bit.
I like him very much. I like all these people.
Tim, right there. Rathbone?
Oh, Tim Rathbone.
Why are you ignoring my pyramid questions? I'm trying to give you the
answers. Why are you ignoring
Bob.
My pyramid questions?
I want to give you the answers.
Oh, for Pete's sake, put them in caps, Tim. Type it all in caps for me. I can't see that far. That's up to you. It's on you now, pal.
Well,
you got Tim Rathbone mad at you. You are in double dutch. He is a 10th degree black belt in 13 different martial arts.
Holy crap.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
It's only 10 martial arts.
Okay. Yeah, the superhighway. My brother thinks that's a thing, by the way. He sees like these stars that kind of look like a highway.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, let's see if Tim. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Is this it? What about the stuff found under the Sphinx and the structures under the pyramids?
So you're talking about Edgar Casey?
Could be.
Talking about Edgar Casey finding the stuff underneath the
pyramids? I watched a video of him the other day with my wife on the fate of the soul.
So Edgar Casey supposedly
he doesn't want to know Edgar Casey. Oh. He wants to know about the stuff under the Sphinx and the pyramids.
Well, yeah, that's the stuff underneath the pyramids that's coming out now you can go talk about, but Edgar Casey's the first one that talked about stuff underneath the Sphinx's
That would be the Hall of Records, wouldn't it? The Hall of Records.
Alexandria.
Yeah. Well, what about it?
Yeah, what about it?
I haven't seen anything brought out yet.
Yeah, if you ask
me, of course,
me
and what's his nose, the Egyptologist in charge.
Okay, the Halls of Amenti, you're talking about.
Amenti, yeah, okay. The Halls of Records.
So the Halls of Amenti, you're talking about those like 500 ton boxes that were down there that were absolutely amazing. I agree, that's absolutely amazing. To me, that's an anomaly. To me, that needs to be looked at. To me, that's a part of the woo. To me, you're on the right track because something's weird there.
Yeah. I'll second that. Wait, something's weird with Bigfoot too, and I didn't second that.
I didn't second.
Boy, we're seeing my biased subjectivity, aren't we? Yeah, it's all good. I don't care.
That they found a door that leads to a staircase under the Sphinx. Well, that's cool. I haven't read anything about it, guys, like on that front, but I've heard a lot about the Sphinx, and honestly, that wouldn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. I heard that there was a hatch on top of his head.
Well, it's in the middle of his back, and there's also a hatch going through the backside, too.
It doesn't surprise me. I mean, here's the thing. I have a problem with Zahi Hawass. I don't like the guy.
That's him, Zahi Hawass.
I don't like him.
Yeah, the Egyptologist. Yeah, I don't either. He's the gatekeeper.
Yeah, he is the key snatcher.
And he's horrible at it. Yeah, he's keeping us from knowing, in my opinion. He needs to be replaced.
Okay, so the connection with the ley lines, good. Now you're
there. Now, yeah, the ley lines are part of this, absolutely. And they're involved with the not only the pyramids, but several of the crop circles and the stoneworks.
That doesn't surprise me on the Germans finding the rooms under the pyramids decades ago.
Yeah.
Because Zahi Hawass keeps all that shit so quiet, dude. And somebody needs to get that guy out of there.
Could be counterweights for the planet. Or they could be electrical connectors for the planet having electricity worldwide anciently. That is Nikola Tesla's theory.
Correct.
And he showed that the pyramid is something has to do with electricity. That's a fascinating subject. Would you guys like us to study that and do a video on that?
We can give you a Tesla rundown of the Wardenclyffe Tower and all that.
Well, no, the pyramid. These guys like the pyramid.
Paula Violet talked about the Sphinx, but as a marker in the cyclical procession of the equinoxes or axial
or stargates. Good point.
Regulus marker of the new age.
Paul Violet. Yeah, Paul Violet's an important one, Timmern. I had one of his books once. I don't know what I did with it. The Sphinx, but as
Okay,
a marker
Tony.
in the cyclical procession. Yeah, that's true.
All right, Tony Boschetti, good one. The pyramids on the moon are the counterweights. The pyramids could be ancient counterweights. Listen, you're talking to a guy right here who believes that there's pyramids on Mars and that there's a Sphinx and a boat there too. A lot of people don't
And
know
a
that.
face.
I can show them. Yeah,
If
Sphinx.
Hoagland was right.
Well, that
Although
face,
Hoagland's had his fair share of debunkers.
that face to me isn't real, but
Right.
that's okay.
But the pyramids.
But the pyramids
all
and
that.
the
Yeah.
because I've seen where NASA has lied, and I've seen the original photos, and they don't match.
That's interesting. What else have we got here?
So Tony, that 100% you just put up there, tell me that you've seen a Sphinx. Tell me that you've seen a boat, because if you have seen that, man, you and I are some of the only ones.
Under the pyramids, according to Cody. Boy, we're getting into some real woo now, aren't we?
I like it though. These guys are smart.
Oh, we're getting into the woo-hoo. Have to do with the Earth's magnetic field. Yeah, electromagnetic.
So that's a cool idea, bud, right there. I like that. That maybe we started out with the pyramids here, and that was the central location of where we started our garden and everything. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't be too far off, actually, because thinking about it, I mean,
there we go. There's another idea. Liquid mercury was found in the pyramids in Mexico,
boom,
so it could involve
earlier.
electricity.
I
Yeah,
said that earlier,
yeah.
man.
That's a high five right there.
I said it earlier. The same
Absolutely.
exact thing.
Yep,
There was
yep.
a gigantic pool of mercury found underneath one of those.
Now, how do you know it's gigantic?
Yep, you're right about NASA cutting feeds. That's been asked. Burleson asked about it.
Yeah, look at all these connections.
Burleson asked about that.
Look at all the connections Dead Fish is saying.
Tony, Burleson asked about that, where it says NASA cuts the feeds. He
Yeah.
asked, why are you guys cutting feeds?
Yeah,
He did ask about that.
yeah,
And now you see Bill Nelson. He's gone.
yeah.
What happened there?
Right, what happened there? Yeah. Well, Burleson seems to be like he's going to be serious
He's
about
on
getting
to
it
something,
going.
guys. He's on.
Burleson is a good man to have in there.
He is on the go.
Yes, they do. In fact, Dean Pollard makes a point. From what I've heard now, NASA scrubs tons of stuff on the moon and Mars. We haven't even been given hardly any access at all of any of the photographs of the moon and Mars.
So
There's
interesting.
thousands of them that we
Right.
haven't been shown. Why?
Right.
Especially on the dark side. Huh?
Yeah.
Come on, I'm just saying.
And
It's a conspiratorial.
I think that China knows something about that dark side, and that they're holding us hostage over it. By the way,
Well, that's an interesting theory.
I think that China
What a
knows something, and they're
skeptic.
using it as
Now,
leverage.
how would they know something? They haven't sent men to the moon.
They send them a rover?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but that doesn't count. Dead Fish is talking about connection with ley lines, I think. All on the same line. He's saying that, well, you guys are getting, all on the same line. Oh, that's all of these things.
So what are we
They're
talking
all on
about?
the
I saw
same
Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu.
Yeah,
Easter
Machu
Island.
Picchu, Cusco, Easter Island, Mohenjo-Daro,
Dude, there's
Angkor Wat.
pyramids. There's pyramids still
Petra.
haven't been found. They're all over the place.
Yeah,
I've even been told there's some in the Amazon that we haven't found. And that
really.
people
Yeah.
know about them, and that the ancient, or not the ancients, but the people, the indigenous populations know about them, and they've led white men to them, and you don't hear much about it. I don't know why.
Huh. Holy cow, we're getting behind. Yeah, all scripted on the slow disclosure. I'm afraid you're right, Tony.
I think.
They have said it's going to be slow disclosure. I
Well-
mean, the government's already told us UFOs are real. If that's what you're viewing disclosure, then we've had it. We're there. We know. But the slow disclosure stuff is show us the craft, the bodies, etc. Show us what you're making, which you want slow disclosure. I don't think the government is ever going to show us anything that they've retrofitted unless they use it in a war.
Yes, you're correct.
And I hope they can.
Cynical Banana, you're correct. He did ask for access to Area 51 recently.
Yeah. Nope.
And
He did too.
And maybe he goes to Area 51, but how stupid would that be? There's nothing at Area 51.
Yeah, I was going to say that doesn't help. Nothing's left there.
And if there is something there,
it's hidden.
It could be so deep down underground, they could show him the top floor and he wouldn't know shit.
Well, he knows there's at least 7 or 8 layers.
I hope he does, because I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on out there. Helium-3, yeah, there is helium-3. And
he says
we may have been mining it too for the last 30 years, but
not on the backside of the moon.
On the backside of the moon.
How are we mining it?
Because there are a lot of launches that we don't understand where they're going, and when they go there, we wouldn't know.
That's a good point too. Sounds like a conspiracy to me. Freemasonry is the building of these structures. This is why the pyramid is on the dollar bill.
Okay, so
that's one idea. Yeah, sure.
Heiser, Soze, love him or hate him. Billy Carson has a Mars lunar sighting database you can pursue. I don't know any of the information on how to find it, but it shouldn't be hard to find now.
It wouldn't if it's Billy Carson. He'll be easy to pop up.
Billy Carson, I've got mixed feelings about it.
Me too. Not like I do with Bigfoot. No offense. If someone likes him, that's great. I'm not ridiculing it. That's fine. But
I mean, the fact that he has that database, though, it might be completely impervious to him. And that database might be exclusively cool because he got it early, which would be good. Okay, so Dulce, I was told that Dulce is a scary underground place, and that there might be bad juju down there. I'm not 100% sure what exactly, but I know that what's his name, Phil Schneider. I think he's the one that talked about Dulce in the early years, and that's where he got into some kind of gunfight with an alien and got his fucking, excuse my language, got his fingers zapped off.
There, I beeped it out. A little late, but I beeped it.
Got his fingers zapped off, and he got like burned up in his stomach. He said the alien rubbed its belly, and a beam came out and burned him up. And I don't know how much I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
That's quite a story. Does he have the scars to prove it?
Maybe there's a connection with mercury, gold, along with the pyramids. After all, gold is the best conductor.
Gold is a good conductor.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't either. The way Trump's regolding the White House, that could become electrical. That could attract lightning.
Associate the person from the data and have no preconception of the field. Well, that's the way science is, Heiser Soze. You shouldn't have any preconceived anything.
Right.
I mean, when you're dealing with science,
Phil Schneider.
We're not dealing with science. We're dealing with the social exploration aspect.
Yeah. One cannot prove, or one cannot trust Phil Schneider.
But again,
he is a proven liar.
You're going to go wham, and there's going to be people that believe 100% in Phil Schneider and people that don't. And I was even told by a person personally that somebody's mom took care of Phil when he was in the hospital, and that when he supposedly killed himself, he didn't. And there was all this, again, boom, boom. I don't know what's real on that. And that's possible that he took a bunch of stories and smashed them together. I mean, look, we're taking a bunch of stories right now, and because of the connections, we're smashing them together.
That's a good point.
I mean,
that's a good point.
Literally,
hopefully we won't get burned by aliens.
We're going to have a problem because there's so much to connect.
Oh, my. We could do this for a full day. Hey, I wonder if these guys would like a marathon session. What if we tried to do something unprecedented and do a 8-hour-long marathon live session on a Saturday or a Sunday or something? Wouldn't that be kind of fun? What do you guys think? Would you be up for an 8-hour marathon just for kicks and giggles?
Just light a fire out here.
We could sit out by the fire. Oh, yeah, that would be a great idea. We could cook hot dogs and eat in front of these guys, or cook steaks or whatever.
Yes, I do. I do believe that the government has the DNA of everybody in the database. You know why?
And if they don't, the Mormons might.
Because they've given it up. There's a bunch of people that have cut their own fingers and sent shit off. And, of course, it's in their database because there are so many people that have now cut their finger and sent it off because they want to know about their grandma or their great-grandma, or, whatever. I think that was a whole big
You sure you're not mixing that up with the genealogy family tree of Mormons?
No.
Okay.
They have those programs. You guys know what I'm talking about. The programs that ask for your DNA, and so you do something, swab your mouth, whatever. They take the DNA.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. The Family Research Center.
DUM stands for Deep Underground Military Base. Yep. It does.
Oh my gosh, Dean Pollard says yes. I'm up for the long marathon. There is so much content to cover over 8 hours. He's got it. I've got it. That could be fun.
So the word belief, I don't like it.
I
don't like the word belief.
I'm
trying to get rid of
that
it
way
because when you say I believe in something, Bruce Lee said, the moment you say you believe in something, you've instantly put yourself against something. So then he also said, the worst disease is for and against. To have your brain be for and against, it's the mind's worst disease. So I've tried to eliminate all that, where I don't have enough for or against.
And to tie that in, Chris Ramsey of Area 52 in a recent interview said, I no longer research in order to either prove true or prove false, believe or disbelieve. I'm gathering data and will explore patterns. And so I like on this UFO subject. So I do like that idea of Chris Ramsey as well.
Tony, you're not the only one. You know that John Ramirez, he can't get his military files. He says that he's trying to get his military files on his blood and DNA, and he can't.
Oh, no kidding. He can't get them, huh?
He's having a hard time.
How interesting. I'll bring the psychedelics and lasers. Heiser Jose, yeah.
Heiser than me.
We can watch my movie. It's 1.5 hours. Hey, Dead Fish, are you talking about our marathon? That might be cool.
It would be cool. It'd be fun, but
have you guys heard of the Collins Elite?
No, I've heard those terms, but I don't know what it is, man. Collins Elite. I might have to.
Data is the key. I agree.
Oh, T Hammer. Bruce Lee grew up in
down the street from me.
So you in Seattle? Is that where you're at?
Yeah.
Because I just went out to his grave not too long ago. Stood next to it with a buddy of mine. Well, with a guy who I made a buddy of mine by standing next to the grave. I said, "Hey, where do you come from?" And he's like, he's wearing this suit and stuff, and he was all military looking. And I said, "Hey, man, I've been following this art since I'm 5 years old." And he said, "I've been following it for the last few years." He's one of Taki Kimura's students, which is interesting. And then I said, "Holy crap, man, Taki comes out here and takes care of all this stuff." And he says, he's my Sifu. So
I studied under one of Bruce's students 80 miles from here for a while.
We both did. Well, you probably studied under Boudry, and I studied underneath Andrew. We both had a.
Yeah, no, I meant another one.
Oh, another one.
Joe.
Okay. I was out in Redlands, California, and I met some of those guys.
Oh, they just renamed the street where he opened his first studio. How interesting. That's kind of interesting. Yeah, Bruce was an interesting character. He was a major philosophy thinker. He read over 1,000 books of philosophy.
Well, he was a philosophy major.
Yeah.
He was a major.
Do you guys remember the Israel conference with Obama speaking and the Secret Service agent that was glitching out in real time?
Yes, I remember that.
Yes, he remembers that.
And I saw it, and the guy looked weird for sure.
Really?
Yeah, but you can't, when you're looking at TV back when it was the Obama administration, like you have to think.
That's almost ancient history.
Yeah, it actually has been quite a long time ago now.
Yeah, interesting. Than Vu Dao, Korean karate.
I'll sell you BYP email address for $1,000.
How dare you, Tim? Don't you dare.
Oh, Bill Owens, yeah. I've heard of him.
Yes, I've seen the new Oumuamua making its way through the solar system. 31 outlets. Yeah, the Angry Astronaut has a new video on that. He's cool. He's fun to watch. Yeah. All right, you guys, we're going to close out. We've had fun. We're a little over 2 hours. We don't want to go too long, but Thank you for all your participation. It's been a blast. Again, as usual, I'll, if you don't mind, I'd like to bring this guy along on a few more, maybe, 200,000-300,000 more sessions, and we can share all the UFO crap we can muster for the next 3,000 years with you all, and we can all learn together. So we're going to call it a night tonight. Fun time, fun job.
Good stuff.
Great knowledge. Appreciate all your support. Remember, hit the like, subscribe, and all that jazz.
Do that. Do all that he just said.
Yeah,
do it all.
like,
and
subscribe.
Stick around because he's going to get some exclusives. You watch. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
All right.
All right. Well, we love you guys. Bye.
See you later. Have a great evening, you guys. Thanks for having so much fun with us. That's a lot of fun to do.
Fun.
We will do more.